In this video, I'll be going through our Century 21 Accounting Textbook Work Together, Chapter 15, Lesson 4 problem by Gilbertson, Lehman, and Gentene, edition 10E. So all credit given to them for this problem, as well as the textbook in general. So we're on 15.4 now. We've already completed 15.1 through 15.3 work together on this entire Google Sheets workbook. So we'll continue on with our last one, 15.4. So the first thing we're going to be doing is post the adjusting entries in the general ledger. That is these entries. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to just make a copy of this and put it on my second screen, just for my own ease, and I'm going to pause. I'll show you a couple, then I'll pause and you can catch up, and I'll show you the screen at the end when I'm finished so you can make sure you're where I am. All right, so first one, December 31st, uncollectible accounts expense, debit of $34.15. So I'm going to come over here to my general ledger, uncollectible accounts expense. My expenses will be later. Uncollectible accounts expense on December 31st, and it was a debit of $34.15. So my balance was nothing before, so it's a debit balance of $34.15. $61.65 is my reference. And this was a general journal. What page was it? 15. So G15 will go here, and then $61.65 to state that it was posted in our posting reference. $61.65. So that one's posted. Allowance for uncollectible accounts, $34.15 credit. So go back to my general ledger. Allowance for uncollectible accounts should be up here. Contra asset on the 31st. Credit $34.15. New balance would be our previous credit plus new credit will be a bigger credit balance. And this was G15, General Journal, page 15, account number 1135. Bring that back here and put it in our posting reference. Supplies expense dash office, a debit of $25.60.08. So supplies expense office, $25.60.08. Supplies expense $25.60.08, new balance. This was G15 on December 31st, and $61.55 is our account number. We'll bring it back. And now I'm just going to go ahead and do these off film, and then I'll show you when I'm finished, and you can check your own work too. I believe you can do this process of posting. Now that I've finished posting, I want you to take a quick glance and make sure you got all of the correct account numbers put in your posting reference. Essentially, this is your answer key right here. So go ahead and pause, take a look through this if you need to. And then let's go through our general ledger. Make sure you got everything posted with the correct balances to this point. Allowance for doubtful accounts, $3,463.67 credit. Merchandise inventory, $96,471.25 debit. Supplies office, $548 debit. Supplies store, $640 debit. Prepaid insurance, $1,600 debit. Interest receivable, $69.33 debit. Let's go to the next column. Accumulated depreciation office equipment should be $4,545 credit. Accumulated depreciation store equipment, $16,004 credit. Federal Income Tax Payable should be blank still. We haven't done that yet. Income summary, $1625.94 credit. Depreciation expense office equipment should be $2,150 debit. Depreciation expense store equipment, $7,440 debit. If you have a discrepancy on any of these, take a look at the entries I've put as I posted them. Make sure you got them all and put them all as a correct debit or credit, depending on what it was. Insurance expense, $9,600 debit. Supplies expense office, $2560.08 debit. Supplies expense store, $3843.62 debit. Uncollectible accounts, $3415 debit. And federal income tax expense, we have $32,000 entered there. We haven't messed with that yet. And interest income, $533.33 credit balance. So hopefully you have the same things as me before you move on to our next step, which is record all account balances except federal income tax expense on the adjusted trial balance. So now you need to go ahead and scroll over to your adjusted trial balance where some of the balances have been entered for you on this problem, specifically the ones that are not necessarily in your general ledger. All the rest of these balances you need to bring in from your general ledger now to our adjusted trial balance, which is right here. So I'm going to just make a copy of this whole workbook and use it side by side. Okay, so I've duplicated my tabs so I can have them open side by side. Now I'm going to go through my general ledger and put them in balances here on my adjusted trial balance. So allowance for uncollectible accounts, current balance is a credit of $3463.67. I can see already that I need to make this smaller as well. Okay. Merchandise inventory, a debit balance, $96,471.25. Supplies office, $548 debit. Supplies store, $640. Prepaid insurance, $1,600, I think is what that says. And then interest receivable, let's see, it would be down here, $69.33. I am just going to double check that balance from this hard copy to make sure I didn't lead you astray on prepaid insurance. Yep, $1,600. Okay, accumulated depreciation, office equipment. I'm going to need to scroll over. Office equipment. Oh man, still can't see it very good. Okay. And it is $45.45 credit. Remember, that's a contra asset to this $69.48.88. Accumulated depreciation store equipment is $16.004 credit. Next one I don't have, federal income tax payable. We get to wait on that one. Next one I don't have, income summary. Income summary, it looks like it is $1625.94 credit. And we'll scroll down. Credit card fee expense. Okay, depreciation expense, office equipment, $21.50. And that's a debit because expenses are debit balance generally. Depreciation expense, store equipment, $7,440. Insurance expense, I believe will come over. And it is $9,600 debit balance. And the next one we don't have is supplies expense office. And it's $2560.08. And supplies expense store, $3843.62. Uncollectible accounts, $34.15. And federal income tax expense, we can wait on. Technically, it's in there for $32,000, but we're going to wait on that one. That was our original balance. And interest income is actually in there for $533.33. You can find that balance back here on your general ledger, $533.33. Okay, so our adjusted trial balance should be finished. The next thing we need to do is go to federal income tax calculation. The first thing we'll do is total our income statement credit accounts. To find the balance for the income statement credit accounts, I just go back to my adjusted trial balance. I'm going to add up everything from income summary down to the end, which is $536,948.17. So I will just enter that here. And then our total income statement debit accounts, excluding federal income tax. So add those up, starting here, and I get $395,360.48 by selecting those. So I'll just enter that here, $395,360.48. So the net income is this number minus this number, gives us $141,587.69. So net income before federal income tax is that number. And so what is the amount over? Well, it's over $100,000. We'll have to look back at our tax tables. Let me just put that on the screen. And like magic, it appears, right? Okay. So it's over 100,000 to 335. That's the bracket that we're going to be in for our marginal tax rate. So of the amount over 100, so the net income subject to that rate is this number minus the 100,000, leaves us with $41,587.69. Our marginal tax rate is 39%. And our marginal income tax is $41,587.69 times 39%, $16,219.20. The bracket minimum for this is $22,250 plus your marginal income tax calculated as $16,219.20. Total for federal income tax are these two amounts added together. All right, so that does it. Oh, where did I want to go? Back one more to the general journal. We have calculated the tax owed for the fiscal year. Journalize and post the adjusting entry for federal income tax payable. So now that we know this amount, $38,469.20, we can go back to our general journal and we can enter this entry. Again, we are on the 31st. We are going to have a debit to federal income tax expense, and we'll have a credit to federal income tax payable, and that amount will be what we have in our balance for the expense already, which we can find out. Or I guess let's go equals our tax liability of, right here, 38 minus, let's look back at our most recent general ledger for federal income tax expense. What have we already paid? And it's right here, $32,000. So what we have left to pay is $64.89 or $64.69, sorry, 20. And so we would pay that on both, and then we'll just quickly post it. You know how to post. I'm not going to show you posting. Last thing to do is complete our trial balance. So we'll need to add our federal income tax payable and federal income tax expense. Federal income tax payable, $64.69.20, and federal income tax expense, $38,469.20. Do a sum function to add them all together if they equal, and you're done.